If you aren't writing irony, are you even writing drama? I always knew that irony was expectation versus reality, but the deeper I looked, the more I realized that it's really the engine of story tension. In an attempt to become a better writer, I usually pick a subject per week and try and do a deep dive into it. And this week, I dove into irony and I wanted to share some things that I have come to realize that maybe could help you out if you're looking to better your stories or screenplays, novels, short stories, whatever you may be writing. Um, in early drafts of my scenes, I would notice that they were feeling a little flat, that they were just kind of characters doing things. To my credit, they were doing things that led us to the next scene and moved us through the story structure. But that is not elevated writing. That's pretty linear and it's pretty two dimensional. And once I started asking, where is the irony? Suddenly the scenes started to come alive. And just to clarify, irony is that friction between either the audience or what the character expects and the outcome that they actually receive. There are three kinds of irony that I really started leaning into. One would be dramatic irony, and it's where the audience knows more than the characters. You're usually going to find this kind of irony in suspense, thriller, sometimes mysteries like the Columbo mysteries, where you see the crime unfold and we're looking and waiting for Columbo to figure out how it happened. The modern day Columbo would be Poker Face. Another example of this, a classic one, would be Jaws. We, the audience, get to see the shark in the water before the swimmers do. And what does it do? It raises the tension, it raises the stakes, it elevates our heart rate, and it creates suspense. Um, in Titanic, before we even went to the movie theater, we knew the ending. We all know how Titanic was going to end before we bought our ticket. We know the ship sinks. Spoiler alert. But why did we go and why was it such a big box office success? Well, it's because knowing the ending doesn't take away the thrill of moving through the story. In fact, it heightens the tension because you know what is coming. We spend most of our time in Titanic getting to know, love these characters and get invested in their relationship, which makes our knowledge of the ending more palpable. Um, in Breaking Bad, the audience knows Walt's secret while his family doesn't. So every scene with Walter White interacting with Skyler or his son, it just becomes rife with tension. Um, and in my own writing, I've started to ask, well, what does the audience know that the character doesn't? And if there's an opportunity um, to fix that, for lack of a better term, or to inject that, I absolutely will. Now, the other kind of irony would be situational irony. That's where um, it is. Now, the other kind of irony would be situational irony. Most of us know that expressed as like the twist of fate. Um, okay, I'm gonna go back to Jaws. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But that moment where the mayor keeps insisting that they shouldn't shut the beaches down because that will cause panic and will cause the town to lose money. But in enacting that situation, the mayor actually gets more people killed, causes more panic, and causes the town to arguably lose money. Um, in The Wizard of Oz, you'll notice that Dorothy spends the entire movie trying to get home, and then we find out in Act Three that she had the power to get home all along. The most direct and modern day comp of a situational irony would be The Good Place, where we learn that the good place is actually the bad place. Sorry, spoiler. And the way that I use situational irony in my writing now is that I look at the endings of my scene and I have to ask myself, are they obvious? Or can I put a twist in there that still makes the scene inevitable, but in a surprising way that still serves my story? How can I subvert those expectations? Another kind of irony that you can lean into is verbal irony. A lot of times, this manifests itself as sarcasm. Doesn't always have to be, but you'll pick up on a lot of verbal irony in Succession, especially targeted towards Kindle. I believe there's a scene where they call him a fearless leader, where he is completely fearful and not a very good leader. Also, there's a old comedic bit uh, that has stood the test of time, and you've probably heard it in The Big Lebowski, some weekend updates on SNL, um, where the character starts complaining about, hey, I have a stomach ache, I'm really, really broke, my hair's fallen out, I've got a rash the size of Montana, but you know me, I can't complain. Let me do that again. I don't want to mess that up. The verbal irony being saying the opposite of what you mean, but with purpose. You'll see this on SNL. SNL characters do this. The limo driver in The Big Lebowski does this, where they say something like, "My stomach hurts, my hair's falling out, I'm broke, my wife left me, I have a rash the size of Montana, but you know me, I can't complain." Well, right there in one sentence, you have verbal irony, you have complaints butted up against, well, you know, I can't complain. And it's not just humor that verbal irony will serve, but situational irony and verbal irony can also be used in combination to reveal character. And I really noticed this to be true in The Office with the character of Michael Scott. Michael Scott consistently tries to um, earn the respect and admiration of all of his coworkers, and the actions that he takes in order to do this actually highlight how incompetent and how much respect he doesn't deserve as a boss. But through those actions and through that irony, we have learned something about his character, which is that he is actually a very desperate and needy man, and in a way that endears us to him because he's so wonderfully flawed. Now, there's also something called the ironic reversal, and this is a term that I was never able to put my finger on, even though I knew it existed. So, what is irony versus the ironic reversal? Irony, once again, is a catch all term meaning that there is a gap between the appearance of reality and the outcome of what reality gives you. But it doesn't always mean that the opposite happens. However, uh, the direct opposite, um, however, sorry. But an example of just an example of straightforward irony, just an example of straightforward irony would be in Romeo and Juliet. We know that Juliet is alive, even though Romeo thinks she's dead. And the irony there is the tragic gap in knowledge before that tragic action is taken, right? Um, but it's not the direct opposite of what the character was hoping for. That's called an ironic reversal. And that happens where, in, let's say, Finding Nemo, Marlin's whole goal is to protect and keep Nemo safe. And it is literally the very thing that drives Nemo away and causes him to get lost and be put in danger. Um, so, my personal application for applying all of these bits of irony to elevate my scenes, I will do irony checks in my revision. At the end of every scene, I just ask myself, is the scene built on expectation versus reality? And if not, it could probably benefit from some more tension. Um, I also have come to realize that irony isn't just a singular tool that you need to apply here and there. It's not a decoration. It's actually the heartbeat of drama. And once I realized that, I really think my scripts started to uh, get a little bit more spark to them, a little bit more movement, and a little bit more life. And so, my challenge to you would be go reread your last scene and ask yourself, where's the irony? And if it's not there, figure out a way to put it in and see if it doesn't benefit from the irony. So I hope you learned a little bit. I know I did, and it was a joy to dive into it and have a little bit more clarity on what I'm dealing with when I know when I'm. As, it was nice to know what I could. Jesus. So, with all that being said, I really learned a lot about irony, more than I thought that I would. So, I'm kind of hoping that you benefit from this too. I'm on a journey to become a better writer. Hopefully, you are too. We never stop learning. It's always nice to take a second to stop, take a breath, have a little bit more of a myopic view of a very general term that we consider ourselves to just know because we were taught it once in an English literature class in fifth grade or whatever grade. We get taught irony. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the video. My name's Derek DeNicola. I'm a writer and producer living out here in Los Angeles, California. And I have a Twitch stream where I stream live every day, noon. So thank you for watching the video. My name is Derek DeNicola. I'm a writer and producer living out here in Los Angeles, California. I also stream live on Twitch every Tuesday from noon to 5. It is the I Should Be Writing community. I also have a link to the Discord server that I've created. If you ever want to stop by, join the Discord, drop in some of your work, share it, help others with their work. I think we can write alone, but we can't thrive alone, and that it takes another set of eyes reading something to really help us hone in on what our voices are, help us get better as writers. And of course, we write because we hope we have an audience. So let's create our own audience. Be sure to join the community. Be sure to like and subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. Thanks for tuning in.